Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gamers Lounge podcast. My name is John Meadows. With me as always is Eric, Nathaniel, and Dennis. What's going on, fellas?
Hello, hello.
Hey.
Hello. Hi. Hello. How's everybody?
Happy
Hello.
pre-daylight savings day.
Yeah. We're hours away.
No, the time changed. My body says it's 12, but I don't understand.
I really had hoped that the government was going to go, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. This is stupid and antiquated, and we don't need to do it. And it's you can let it all go.
Or you live in a state where it's like, I think like in parts of Oregon over here, actually, like the edge of Eastern Oregon, it's mountain time too. It's not all state specific Northwest Pacific times.
Right. Well, and I know in Indiana, half the state is one way and half the state is the other. And,
yikes!
So they don't do daylight savings time. So like one day,
how does that work if you're driving through? You're like, oh,
yeah, it changes. It'll just change. You'll just be like, well, here we are.
Your clock's just.
Yeah, I know. It's like ridiculous.
Time warp.
Well, and I think they passed something here that they were going to get rid of it here in West Virginia. But the thing about it is we border, let's see, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, and Kentucky. We border 5 states. And if you're the only state in the middle of 5 states that is an hour behind or ahead of somebody, oh my gosh, could you imagine? I mean, it's like, if you were like people live here and they.
Oh, if you commute.
Yeah, you commute. You go. Some people work across the river in Ohio, so you'd have to wake up and you'd be in that. At certain times of the year, you'd be an hour difference. To be like, I
didn't think about that.
I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. That would be miserable some of the time. So I say just ditch it all. Farmers have lights on their tractors now. If it gets dark too early for them, they can. It's no big deal.
That's right.
And I don't know. I've never seen any farmer working much after it gets dark, no matter what time of year it is anyway. So what difference does it make?
That's right.
That's it.
Who am I to judge, But I live in a farming community. Honestly.
I see how
I see how farmers do. It's fine. It's all good here. We're fine. But whatever. I mean, it's an old antiquated thing, so who cares? So but anyway, we're not here to talk about daylight savings time or fuss about it like a bunch of old men. Even though I can fuss about some stuff like an old man, we're here to talk about video games like we always do. So.
I'm on again.
We'll start with what we've been playing, like we always do. Honestly, I haven't played much the past 2 weeks. I think it's been 2 weeks since we did a show, 2 or 3 weeks. We didn't do a show last week because Erik was at PAX. So I figured we'd hold it off
survived.
to do it. Yeah, no coronavirus for Erik. At least we don't know yet. It does have an incubation
I have some
time,
funny stories about that.
No, I can only imagine.
Please don't sneeze on that keyboard. I would not want to play your demo.
They have coronavirus goodie bags.
Yeah. So,
why are you spraying everything with Lysol?
Yeah. The best meme I have seen online so far is there's a bunch of people standing around a bus stop. And they're all standing there, like some of them's on their phone, some of them's looking at their watch, or this or that or this. And one of the girls goes, "Achoo!" And she sneezes, and immediately everybody steps back. One guy pulls out a gun and shoots her, and then everybody else sprays Lysol in the air. And then they all stick the Lysol cans back in their pockets, and then they just go back to what they were doing. It was like,
That's pretty funny.
I was like, all right,
that
was actually funny. I mean, it's sad, but it was actually funny, so it shouldn't have been as funny as it was, but
it's almost like a medical version of like a stink bomb.
Yeah,
I've seen like stink bombs go off from like pranks in like malls and stuff like that, and the way people disperse, that will never not be like comedy gold to me.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. It is the funniest thing. It's not funny for the people it's happening to, but it is.
No.
Yeah. It does make me laugh, but not for everybody else. It's not funny to those it's happening to. But anyway, so the only really thing that I've been playing is I come home on Fridays, from working out of town, and me and my buddy will hop on Red Dead Redemption.
Where's my invite?
Online.
I would love to play with you. I need people to play with Red Dead Online. I still got it.
I'll be honest with you, dude. We don't get on till 11 o'clock and our time, and maybe get off at 3 or 4 in the morning.
Whew.
Just because
that works.
we only get to play a few hours a week. He works night shifts, and he's been off Friday and Saturday, and I've been working out of town on the week. So luckily I've been home on Friday and Saturday. So
It's all good.
oh my gosh, it's so much fun online. We have had a blast playing it with just me and him. It's still what still cracks me up is there's still little bugs and issues with the online. Like there'll be a lot of times like the other day we were trying to play and we were in a posse together and I couldn't connect to the mission. I would pick the mission and it would kick him out of the posse and I'd be by myself. And then I'd kick it again and we'd form up a posse and try it again. And then we like walked away and went somewhere else and then came back a few minutes later and then it worked just fine. It was so weird.
That's weird.
But we haven't really run into a lot of jerks. The second time we played, we found one guy who was like running around doing stupid stuff. And he was bugging. Well, what was hilarious was he was bugging my buddy. My buddy was just standing there. If you don't hit him, then you don't set anything off. But what's hilarious is he tried to rope me off my horse, and as soon as he roped me off my horse, I wrestled loose of it, and I shot him in the head.
Nice.
Yeah. So then the whole rest of the time he was hunting me down, and I was literally hiding in a bush in the town. And you could see me on the map as a little red dot. And he's just walking all the way around like, where's he at? Where's he at? Where's he at? And I literally, from the bush, just boom, shoot him in the head again. And it's just like, come on, dude. If you're going to troll me right. And I don't even troll. And, it was like... But, I mean, most of the time, most people's been cool. I mean, most of the time we haven't seen... people just ride by and don't pay any attention or whatever. But man, we've had such a blast. And we haven't even done any of the professions. You can do the moonshining stuff, you can do the bounty hunting stuff, there's collector stuff. We haven't done any of that. We've literally just did the little quote unquote story stuff they have on for like the main mission, and it's been really fun. Really enjoyed it. Of course, where we play it so late at night, my buddy falls asleep sometimes when we're playing, and
like in the middle of playing it.
Yeah, and it is the most funny thing in the world because he'll be riding and like there'll be a train, we have to stop for the train or something. The train goes by, and then I'll take off, and then I'll see him take off. But when he takes off, he'll go like left. And I've got videos of him just riding right into a mountain and just going falling. Like the other night, he was trying to turn his the wagon around. We had a mission where we had to take a wagon with people to here and there. He got caught on a rock, and he couldn't get it off the rock. It was just he was rocking it back and forth with the horse, back and forth. When he finally popped it loose, he rolled it down a hill, and there was a lake. And he tried to cut it real quick, and he couldn't make it. The horse and the wagon and all went right into the lake, and everybody drowned.
It's kind of funny.
It was hilarious. I mean, we've had some, and of course we're all tired and half asleep while we're playing anyway, so it's even more funny just because we're because we're trying to stay awake. But yeah, we didn't get to play last week, and we didn't get to play this week either. So I think I'll be home Friday. So or I'll be home Thursday next week. So we'll be home a little early. So we may actually get to play Friday night. But that's really all I've played. I have literally been so pooped when I got done with work that I'd go eat and then sit in a hotel room and watch YouTube till time to go to bed, and that's about it. Even though I've got my Switch and I haven't even pulled my Switch out to play it in like 2 or 3 weeks, it's kind of unusual for me. But so, Nathaniel, what have you been playing? You mean you have the shortest list? So.
Yeah, I've just played Metro Exodus. I finished that
good choice
on PC.
Oh, you finished it? Don't spoil. I'm almost the last act. Don't spoil.
Because I'd played it before on my Xbox, and then I got it on PC when it came to Steam because they had it on sale, and so I decided to pick it up and play through it there. I haven't done the one version I got has the DLC, but I haven't done either of the DLC yet. I just finished kind of the main game's story.
The second DLC is really good, right? It's supposed to be like a little bit of a story and pretty
From what I've
challenging.
seen, both of them seem to have pretty good reviews on it. I didn't look too deep into it, but yeah, I haven't played it, so I don't know. But the game itself is really, really good. I would say it starts really well and ends really well and has one area in the middle that I'm just like, it's not as good as the other two areas.
What area are you talking about? Because I'm curious.
So you have like kind of like the bigger areas connected by like more linear missions in between when you're like moving places down the line. The desert.
Which area?
The desert is not as good as the
You
other
didn't like the
two
desert?
areas. No. It's fine. It's just not as good as the others because you have to have a car to go around it, and because
that is
that,
really. I kind of screwed
it's
myself.
more spread out.
Yeah,
and it's a lot. And if you if you forget where your car is, you can see it on the map, so that's not that big a deal. But sometimes you leave your car and then you take like a zip line somewhere, and then you go somewhere else, and you're like, oh, my car's way the heck over here. Yeah. And then there's this weird bug I run into. If I look at my map in the car, and then let it go back down, I don't know, somewhere in the middle of the animation, it would shift the camera up. So I'm kind of like my head is like up in the ceiling of the car, and you have to get back out and then get back in to reset it. So it's really hard to see.
The first area really reminded me of like the bits and pieces of the other games, kind of. But in the second area, I was like, oh, this is a little bit different.
Yeah, so you kind of start and it's like, hey, this is a Metro game. It's got a linear like level or two that you start out with, and then you move on in the story to a bigger area, and you're there for quite a while, and then you move on for a little bit to another area, which is the desert, and then you move on from that one into a kind of third area, which that one I like the area a lot, but because of the way the story is, it discourages exploration because it's more about like, you have to go through
and very stealthy.
It's a little linear in that you're going from one end of it to another, but it's still kind of as wide as the others. But it's also like, hey, you're trying to find somebody that you were with at the beginning of the level, and they're off there. It's like, why would I just meander when they might be dying?
When I replay it, I'm loading up my guns and I'm just mowing down everybody.
Yeah. But that one, at the end of that level, is kind of like the demo that they showed of it before the game came out, where it had like the weird deformed bear that they fought in.
Yeah. And then the last area, which...
And then you have kind of like the end of the game isn't really another area. It's just like an end level, and it's very linear, just like older Metro games.
I hear it's challenging and terrifying.
Yeah, there's definitely some parts in that game that are a little tough or challenging, depending on how much ammo you have at the time.
I thought, let's see, in the desert area where you're down in like the archives and you're searching for that stuff, and there's a lot of spiders. I thought that was a little bit challenging until I discovered that the flame rounds work wonders, and I used a ton of those.
Yeah, spiders aren't all that. You just like camp in a corner and shine your flashlight
at them. That noise, and I'm like, they're coming through the walls.
But yeah, I don't know. That game is really good.
Like, being in like playing Last Light and like being in the tunnels by yourself and hearing noises, just being like, I'm all by myself, no other humans, and then monsters.
Yeah, I got a fun achievement that at least on Steam, only like 20% of players got, or less than that, I think.
Sniping achievement
in the beginning. No, I got it in the first big open area for killing the catfish. If you don't know what it is, that won't spoil anything. But yeah. I was like, I did. Screw that thing.
Sniping achievement where you have to have the biggest scope possible and wearing night vision and your mask. And if you can get it in like one of the dark spots, like 3 kills in a row or 4 kills in a row.
I never even used a sniper.
Yeah, I like it.
I have like a kit, but I never changed it.
I think I used the machine guns a little bit.
I used like a nice assault rifle setup and then like a silenced pistol, and then the cool like pneumatic weapon that you get, and then I use the crossbow when you get it later in the game, and a little bit of a shotgun. I think
I need to use the cocktails and the grenades more. I don't use.
Oh man, they're so good. Molotov cocktails are so good. I know
how the endings work, and I know what I'm supposed to do.
I did not know that. And I got to the end.
Sorry.
And then I looked it up and I was like, I hate that. That's so stupid and arbitrary and dumb. It makes no sense.
You remember in Last Light where it came to, I'm sure most of us have played it by now, it came to a couple choices in the game, which I knew about. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. I can either save this person or kill him, and this is how it's going to shake out. That works for me. Back to killing everybody.
But like, I looked up what you're supposed to do in this one. It's not like there's no big choices. It's all just like some subtle stuff that you do along the
And in the
way of
beginning, the
like
very first area, I did not
gameplay,
know.
really. And I looked at it, and I was like, I did most of that, and I still got the quote unquote bad ending. But I looked it up what the other one was, and I'm like, well, there's only like one major difference between the two. They're pretty much exactly the same, and I think that the bad ending is actually the better ending. Because it's just because the bad ending fits the world more because it's a post-apocalyptic whatever dark thing where all sorts of bad things happen. If it's a bad ending, that just kind of fits it better.
You played the DLC for Last Light, right? It was like the little submissions, right? That was really cool. It was like a little handful of with the other characters. You played like a little submission. That was kind of neat. I like that.
Yeah, that's what these are. The DLC is like other characters that you're playing.
I think I have Metro Redux, and I have beaten the another version of Last Light. But I in the first one, I'm stuck wherever the librarians are, and I'm just like, I gotta jump back in and try to get through it.
Yeah,
I haven't played it in like a month.
I haven't played it. I need to play it. It's on my list.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The only other thing I tried playing was like Pyre, like the Supergiant game, because I got it for free when I got Hades or whatever at Christmas time on Steam. When they had the sale, it was like they were giving it away for free with that if you bought it.
I've been wanting to play that
period of time, and I didn't like it, so I stopped playing after about 30 minutes because I got into like the intro and I got through kind of like here's the tutorial of here's how you play this like weird thing. I'm like, I don't want to play a sports game because it's kind of what it is. So like if you've never played Pyre, it's kind of like this weird. They have the weird kind of Supergiant fantasy world set up to it, but what you're actually doing is you have 3 different characters on a field, and they all have different stats. So you're kind of like a big one that moves slow, and a tiny one that moves really fast, and then like a medium one. Only one of them can move at a time, and you have like this sort of ball that you can pass back and forth, or you can throw it. And everyone has kind of like an aura around them that if you touch the other team with it, they get disintegrated for a certain number of seconds, like banish, whatever. And if you're holding the ball, your aura goes away, so you can more easily be banished. So it's all about like doing your like little dashes and passing the ball around and trying to get it in. And I played the level, and I'm just like, nah, this isn't what I want. So I just not in the mood for it, or just whatever it was. I just like, no, I'm done. The art is awesome, like in all their other games, but just not digging what the gameplay was giving me at the moment. So I might try it again at some point in the future, but I'll probably do Hades first. But I didn't do that one because they have an update coming this coming week, so I'll wait till that new update comes before I even throw it in. Not that it matters because I haven't played any of it to this point anyway. So
might as well wait then. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing with Fallout 76. It's like, I really want to get into that game. I really want to get into that game. Oh wait, there's a huge update coming out in April. I'll just wait,
or just like wait and not play it ever because they just keep tripping over themselves every few months of just doing stupid stuff. They're like, hey, let's do this cool subscription service. Oh, by the way, the storage that you bought with that, it's destroying your items. Whoops.
Yeah, whoops.
At least eventually they kind of fix that for people, but it's just like, guys,
yeah,
come on, man.
It's like, the only reason I want to play it is because this place is here in the state, so that's really the only reason I want to play it. And they're going to add all this.
They should add tour mode, like the Assassin's Creed last couple games put in, like kind of the like alternate mode where you're going around and there's cool like stuff to learn about, like the area versus actually playing the game itself.
That'd be cool. I'd be fine with that. Yeah. It would save me some time. So save me a lot of time. Since that's all I've really played it for is that kind of stuff anyway. So, it saved me time that way. But whatever. Whatever. It's fine. It's all fine. And hardly pay anything for the game anyway. In fact, I don't think I paid anything for the game. I don't know. I don't pay. The thing about it is I stay in so many hotels every year that I don't... I get points for staying in hotels, and that's what I use to buy video games with. So I don't.
That works.
Yeah.
I don't pay for video games. I use gift cards from Amazon from staying in hotels. It's like I looked at my thing this year, and it's like, oh, and well, like next week they're starting the Choice Hotels. For every 2 nights you book, you get a free night. So they give you enough points. So every 3 nights I stay, I'll end up having a $50 gift card. So it's like, well, free money for me. So it's like, we don't travel, and when we do travel, we usually go places where we have people that we stay with for free. So it's like,
Right.
don't need it. So, but yeah, Metro's on my list. I need to play that.
The package, the Redux is coming to Switch, or already has it. Because it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it came out this week. I saw some reviews, video reviews on it, and it seemed like a lot of people was a lot better than what they thought it was going to be.
Jump in. If you haven't already, it's really hard to say go for it again. Because, I mean, I have it twice already when it's been switched. It's hard for me to say, oh, well, I'll switch to you. But for you, since you take your Switch a lot with you, and if you've never finished the first 2, it makes sense for you.
Yeah. Well, the other thing,
it's
it's on Game Pass, so it's almost like, I don't know if I would buy it or not on Switch since it's on Game Pass.
And it's been on sale on Steam for, it was cheap for a while.
I'm pretty sure I've got the first 2 on PC that I got in a Steam sale or a Hummel bundle. Or
they've been in bundles all over the place.
Don't play 2033 unless you want to be terrified.
Yeah.
And I played Last Light. I'm like, okay, this is cool, and I understand,
Sure.
Yeah, those 2 are very connected, but Exodus is kind of its own thing. I mean,
you still play as
a few of the characters if you play the other ones, but for the most part, you could probably even just start with Exodus and not be really lost in what's going on.
Right.
The good thing about enough of a recap Exodus, at the beginning. They have the easier mode for 2033, which is a little bit nicer. Enemies take less bullets, and things work out a little bit better for you. A little bit easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I have such a large list of games I need to play.
Yes, your backlog is massive, as in most of us. So many games. I need to take 3 months off, and then I would probably never get to the ones I really want to play.
Well, yeah, it's like even when I have time off, it's like I never go back and play the games I want to play or that I should be playing. I play something that I've been playing or play online with guys. It's like, man, I really need to go play.
Or I'm the guy that's like,
stop doing that.
I didn't finish last year. I should go back and finish. I'm like, no, I'd rather play this newer game instead.
Well, that or it's like, I just want to chill out and I just want to play some Revenge of Shinobi on the Genesis or something like that. It's like, why do I do that? I buy all these new games and then I don't play them. It's like, why don't I play these new games? It's like, doesn't make sense. But whatever. So
it's overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. So speaking of overwhelming, Dennis, what have you been playing? So I know I dumped about every Yakuza game on you. It's like, hey, we got the Yakuza Remastered collection for review. You want to play it? Well, okay.
I'm realizing that there's a lot of collections coming out, and I think as nice as it is, I think to the entire industry, I think we need to chill.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because what is it? We had Metro come out this week, right, which we were just talking about on Switch, right. And of course the Yakuza Remastered collection, and then in the next couple of days, next Tuesday, I believe, Langrisser 1 and 2 is coming out, and it's nice, Don't get me wrong, but it's when it gets. It can become overwhelming, especially with so many incredible games.
And I've said this from the very beginning that I don't remember, and it may just be because I was young at the time. I don't remember games coming out as frequently on like NES, Super NES, Genesis as they do now. Now, whether or not that was really the thing.
They probably did, but you just don't have the same tools to keep track of them back then as you do now.
I think so. Yeah.
That's what I think. That's what it must be. We don't.
Or even if there's a difference, it wouldn't be as much as you might think.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can come up with, because it's like, for me, it seemed like the Genesis and the NES and the Super NES were out for so long, but then you actually look back at it, you're like, no, they were only out like 5 years or something like that. It's like, well, that was a lot of games in 5 years, but I don't remember that many games.
Yeah. I bet the one big difference would be those are all just like physical games you're going to go to buy in a store, whereas now you can buy all the digital stuff and physical games, but you can also order physical games from online, so it just feels like there's a lot more because there's a lot more places you can
a
go.
lot more outlets.
Yeah, and that's what it has
outlets,
to be. We all say, oh, we live in a a plethora of games. Well, maybe we always have. We just didn't realize it until we got all connected.
There's still more games now, though. Like if you include all the stuff that comes to like Steam and everything of all the consoles and everything too, like everything all lumped together.
Yeah,
there's a lot of games coming out. So if you have like all the platforms, you have
especially
so many
now
things that you could never ever get to.
Yeah, there was a lot before, but no, you're right. I think now with more outlets, and then not to mention self-publishing. Before, you would only see yourself in a store if you got like a big deal or something, you know. But now it's just like, oh, I made a game you can put up as a free download on like itch or like Kickstarted or whatever, self-published on Steam, GOG, whatever the case may be. There's so many options now, where it's like it's almost like you'd be hard pressed to not find a way to get your work out there, you know.
Yeah, and indie games is a big thing too. And there's a lot of indie games that I go, oh, I love that. That looks awesome. That looks awesome. That looks awesome. It's like I want that. I want that. I want that. I want that. Before you know it, I've got 100 friggin' downloads. And
because they're all like they're all like $2 to $3 a piece usually too. You know, so you're just like, I'll spend $2 here, $3 there, $5 there. You know, and then it's just
$10 ain't nothing for a game.
What is that?
What's that?
And then the craziest part is sometimes not all the time, but sometimes these games can be just as meaty as a $60 game, and it's wild.
Yeah. And it'd be like, wow, that game was only supposed to be like 10. I thought it was gonna be 10 hours, and here I am 30 hours in.
Yeah, 30, 40 hours later. It's something a perfect example, something like Stardew Valley, right? $15 game that you can just spend.
Well, yeah, that's like an evergreen game that you could just like keep playing and playing and playing.
Exactly. Yeah, it's wild, absolutely crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, so what have you been playing besides all the Yakuza games? I even dumped Yakuza 0 on you the other day for review.
Yeah. And we talked about this too. I was like, look, if my brain is gonna fry, I would have it no other way than Yakuza to just burn my brain.
Yeah.
And just have my brain catch on fire. Like if I'm ever gonna retire from writing, it's just like this is how I want to go out. Just all the Yakuza.
I felt bad because it was like 2 weeks ago I dropped the Yakuza Remastered on him, and then Sega sent me a code for Yakuza 0, and I sent Dennis a message. I'm like, hey, you want to review Yakuza 0 while you're doing 3, 4, and 5? And he's like, sure. And then last night I get a code for Persona 5 Royale, and I'm like, hey, by the way, Dennis, you want to do another?
Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, talk about a long game.
Here's the thing, though. I absolutely love Sega and Atlas, of course, as well. And it's for me, it's an honor, but also like I absolutely love those games. So I want to do those games justice. I already beat Yakuza 3 and 4, and I'm in the middle of 5 at the moment. So, and then I did start a little bit of 0 on Xbox One. So, I'm going through them quicker than I feel like I should be, but also at the same time, I'm really focusing on the story, and just really trying to get through the most important part of these games, even though it's very difficult because, a place, those games give you so much to do. In Kamurocho, there's so much to do in those games. So it's so easy to get sidetracked as well. So it's difficult for me to not, like, I can't tell you the amount of times I've told myself, no, don't go into Club Sega. Just go ahead and go towards the do your next mission, do the one you need to do. No, you don't need to go to a hostess club. It's fine. Just just move on. Just move on. It's like, I want to do all this stuff so bad, but I have to force myself to move on. But because I want to do the review justice, but I am actually I'm halfway through the review right now, so hopefully we'll see that sooner, pretty soon. So, I've been playing all the Yakuza's. Actually, right before hopping on here, it was in the middle of Yakuza 5 as well. So, but it was the longest cutscene on the planet. If you told me like Kojima directed it, I would have believed you. It was unbelievable. Like it was. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be late for this.
Some of those ones in 5 and 6 are just long.
Oh my god, 6 like especially
20 minutes or more just of a story cutscene. It's like
that's right.
And not that I'm not complaining, but sometimes when you're just wanting to hop in and play just for a little while, it's like half your game time's taken up by this humongous long cutscene. But it's so pretty at the same time. But
trust me, I'm I don't know why, but I absolutely love super long cutscenes. I don't know why, but there are times, like before the podcast started, I was like, yo, I gotta go. If we can get because it was legitimately a 20+ minute cutscene, like no joke. And normally I'd be okay with that, but I was like, all right, come on, because I don't want to skip it. Everything in Yakuza typically keeps you at the edge of your seat, at least for the main story stuff. Obviously, there's a bunch of comical stuff on the side, but yeah, typically, you don't really want to skip stuff like that, especially because they're all so well made too. So there's a lot of love and passion that's put into those games, so you want to appreciate it and not miss any of it. So. But yeah, that was one of those times where I was like, oh man, this was legitimately like no hyperbole, nothing. I think it's precisely 20+ minutes. It was wild.
Come on.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been playing through the Yakuza Remastered, and they've been absolutely amazing. I can't praise those games enough. Obviously, it's now available for everybody, but just looking at it through a critical perspective, it's just, I keep telling myself over and over again, like, I can't believe. Because I can't believe they're PS3 games. They still look great today. It's insane. It's insane to me. But yeah, in addition to that, in my usually I do this later in the night, but I have been playing a lot more Ring Fit Adventure. I finally got that, I think about 2 weeks ago, maybe something like that. And it's been amazing. It's been amazing. It was one of those things where I was just like, I think I need to jump on this, and I thought it was going to be a joke at first, but it was not. It was not. Ring Fit is the truth. That thing is the truth. You're in pain afterwards. So a lot of pain. That thing is insanely well made. The ring con. It's. I haven't looked it up, but I want to see if people have tried breaking it. Because it is, it's incredibly
sturdy. Somebody somewhere has had to have tried to break
somebody it. Had to, yeah. But this is definitely a more malleable version of a Nintendium, so it's very well made. And yeah, I don't know what Nintendo does with stuff like this, but it's just like, it's brutal. But yeah, I've been playing that. It's a really feel good workout game. I think it's one of those. It's something that I've wanted for a long time. Where it's just like I'm a big RPG guy, so it kind of takes those RPG elements and puts it into workout regimens, and it's just so clever and it's so cool, and the controls work really really well. There's certain things where I'm like, nah, that didn't work too well, but I would say about 85%, 90% of the workouts that I've tried so far anyways have worked really really well. There have been a few where like the calibration just feels off or stuff like that, but otherwise they all are pretty well made and super super accurate, and it's really impressive the technology that's put into there. So yeah, I've been doing that on the side as well. Last night, or maybe 2 nights ago, I actually just beat Wolfenstein Youngblood. It's on Game Pass. I've been wanting to play it for a while.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to play for a while just because it looked super interesting to me. And I know there was a little, some disdain towards it just because it was like kind of a different direction. And, everyone was just like, oh, well, you're not playing, as, you're playing as the daughters instead. And I'm like, well, there's no problem with that. The thing I was worried about was the whole, I was worried that the game would almost force you to do co-op, because games like that typically, you hear this all the time where it's just like, you can play it by yourself, but you enjoy it more with friends. And then when you play it, it's just like, dude, if you're not playing with somebody else, this game is unplayable.
Right.
And I hate stuff like that. I absolutely hate stuff like that. But in this case, I played the whole thing by myself. It was perfectly fine. I didn't even I completely forgot that you could play it with somebody else. It was great. So I want that kind of flexibility, because there's a lot of games out there that are always like, yeah, you can play it by yourself. Yeah, but can you really? Can you really
play it by yourself? Will you be bored?
What was it? That one game? Was it called No Way Out or something like that? That was.
Oh yeah, A Way Out.
A Way Out.
Yeah. Like you bought it, you had the pass, and your friend could play with it, right? And
yeah.
a different game.
No,
yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I wondered how if that was more of a requirement to play with a
Here's an AI controlled computer person who's dumb.
Yeah, that's that was a game I was always interested in, but I've never.
It's like Resident Evil. It's like Resident Evil 5 works best with an actual person as a second player instead of the computer one. But the computer's like, I guess.
Yeah, I remember.
I mean, kill stuff, give you ammo, but also burn through ammo like crazy.
That's right. Yeah, I remember playing Resident Evil 5 with a friend when that came out. Actually, good memories with that
game back in the day. Was that the only one that has like co-op? Resident Evil 6 didn't have co-op, did it?
6 did.
Yeah,
6 did. Yeah.
I have not played 6.
I haven't either.
You're not missing much.
I think I have it.
Except for Insanity.
Maybe.
Leon's campaign was fine, but everyone else's was just like, why does this exist?
I got Revelations 2, and I haven't played that, and I've been eager to check that out. I really like the
Revelations 2 was fine. I didn't like it as much as the first, but I did overall. I thought it was fine. By the time the credits started rolling out, I was just like,
I beat the first Revelations on Wii U. It was one of the last Wii U games I played.
Revelations 1, actually, I don't know why, but I love that game so much. I bought that game everywhere. I bought it on PS3, 3DS, Wii U. I don't know why. I have it on my Switch now. I don't know why I bought that game.
I'm a sucker for Resident Evil. I like the games. I have 7. I played it in VR. Terrified me.
I bet. I refuse.
For like an hour, I was like, my buddy's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I'm done."
Like, dude, they're forcing me to eat these worms, man. I can't.
Are you nauseous? I'm like, nah, I just can't play it. I can't do it.
Nope. I didn't even try it. I was like, you know what? No thanks. No thanks. I don't play games to get terrified. I play games to relax and have fun.
There we go. Like, this is not
plus the bathroom's too far away.
Bring the VR in the bathroom.
Yeah, really. Anyway.
That way you're ready to go.
Yeah.
I just can't.
What are you doing in there? Nothing. Nothing at all. Leave me alone.
No, I'm just scared.
Just playing a game. Leave me alone. Ah! But anyway.
What you guys talk about on the podcast today? I was going to ask my wife's going to ask something. Nothing. VR.
And here's the marketing that the Oculus Quest is missing.
Oh, God.
Because they haven't shown anybody in the bathroom yet.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, you're trying to keep the pink eye thing down, so you really don't want to play it in the bathroom.
I'd rather get pink eye than coronavirus.
We're trying not to spread disease. It's already bad enough that we know people don't wash their hands in public when they come out of the bathroom. We really don't need VR goggles to worry about. But I bought this Oculus Rift used. I wonder if anybody ever played it in their bathroom. Let me put it on my face and just see.
Can you imagine bragging about that too? Most people have magazines. Yeah, I got an Oculus Quest in there if you want to check it out.
Yeah. I got an Oculus Quest hanging on the wall in the bathroom.
Yeah, it's right next to the bath towels. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's all good. It's all good. Try it out, man. It's so realistic.
No.
Pass.
We'll see what happens when Half-Life Alyx comes out.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
But I've been playing Youngblood, and it's I haven't played a Wolfenstein game in a long time, and I don't know if the more recent ones are like this. I've never been too invested into Bethesda properties. So but Youngblood was something that, I don't know, I just always picked my interest. I don't know if it was the characters or what. But
I hear people, what I heard is people don't, it's a fine Wolfenstein game, but I think people don't think it's as good as the other two, maybe.
Mm.
But the co-op thing is interesting because don't all the versions come with a code so your buddy can play with you?
The deluxe edition.
Okay.
Yeah, the deluxe edition came with a buddy pass. Yeah.
I keep thinking I should do that. That'd be fun.
All the complaints I've heard about Youngblood
is
that it was a cheap game budget-wise, and they made it super, super grindy because of that.
They make it fast too, maybe?
Not the same kind of game as the previous two, like Wolfenstein games, which are like these huge budget, like spectacle things with all sorts of crazy stuff going on. So I haven't even played it yet because I don't care. It doesn't look like a game that I want. Like, give me a full sequel.
Redbox had it for sale for like $15. I was half tempted just to get it and have it, and then put it in the pile. They'll never play.
I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. I beat it 2 nights ago, and it was funny. I thought the daughters were great. They had great chemistry. Their dialogue was hilarious. I mean, I laughed many times. It was so over the top. It felt amazing. The gunplay.
Did it have that stuff for like Wolfenstein 3D, where they're like hidden areas you could play Wolfenstein, the original Wolfenstein again, or did they not have that?
I didn't find any areas. I found there's a lot of collectibles, but there was nothing like that I ran into. And I looked in every corner, so there was nothing. I'm kind of achievement hunting right now for it. So, but yeah, no, I had a great time with it, honestly, and just because it was so over the top. And if I'm not mistaken, this one was actually developed by a different team. Arcane actually took hold of it, and they made Prey, if I'm not mistaken. So the environments were a lot bigger. Many things. Yeah. But the environments were a lot bigger versus the other Wolfensteins, where they're a lot more linear. The Youngblood, you could move around a lot.
No, I would highly doubt. Because there's some pretty big environments. They're linear story, but there's still some pretty big levels in there.
Right.
In the previous 2 games. There ain't, tiny levels for any means.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time in those, they took me forever to get through some of the levels, twisting and turning.
Well, because some of them, they have lots of different paths you could go down, or do you want to try and play it super stealthy, or do you want to just go there guns blazing and die a bunch of times?
Yeah, that was the way.
There's all sorts of different ways you can play it.
Yeah. It was but overall, I enjoyed it. I mean, I had a really great time with it. It was just because of how over the top it was. Sometimes man, you just want something ridiculous, and that.
You keep saying over the top with it, and I'm like, how could that possibly be over the top compared to what they've already done? Because I think that if you had played the other ones, the previous 2 first, you probably would not.
Oh yeah, especially the last one. The last one had some crazy stuff.
Yeah, was that New Colossus was the last one? I can't remember the
New Colossus.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they do some crazy shit in those games, man. They go nuts.
This one was correct me if I'm wrong, but this one was how long is a typical run for Wolfenstein? Typically, campaign.
6 to 8, you think?
I don't know.
Maybe
no,
10?
some of those are a little longer, but 10. It depends on how you're really good at shooters and you can just gun through it. And then some of them you could probably go through it quicker. If you're playing it stealthy, it's gonna be slower. If you're looking for all the collectibles, that'll slow you down.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very they're not super long games, but they weren't 4 or 5 hours either.
Okay, yeah, because I think now I've clocked in about 13 hours, but when I beat it, it was about 8.5 hours.
You're getting your money's worth out of it then.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even a full price game when it came out either. It was $40, I think.
Yeah,
so.
And they've had it on sale for a while.
Yeah, stupid sales, yeah. but yeah, no, it's just goofy fun, and for something that I played via Game Pass, I'm relatively pleased with it. So, but yeah, I mean, probably to hardcore Wolfenstein people, I can see why it probably be, just because it might stray away from what you're used to, but for someone who's a casual player for stuff like that, and just Bethesda properties in general, it was super enjoyable for me. So, but yeah, I played and beat that a couple nights ago.
Cool.
And in addition to that, I recently got into. I never thought I could get into it. I've tried many times across many different platforms, but I think I've got the hang of it now, and I've finally been able to get into Minecraft.
Yes.
And yeah, I think now that quote unquote, that I know what I'm doing, now that I I guess have an objective, and then you're playing with people, it feels a lot more.
That's the secret sauce to that game. If you just try to pick it up by yourself, it's going to be a lot harder to get, really get into it. But if you start playing with people who can show you some of the ropes too, just oh, hey, here's a cool way to do this. Here's how to get stuff quickly or not.
And that's what finally
really makes it a lot more enjoyable to start with. If you're just overwhelmed with what's all these things? I don't know recipes for stuff.
That was me. That was me. They just
keep adding more to it, so it just gets more and more overwhelming if you've never played it. There's just so much stuff.
It's crazy. What was the first time I tried playing it? I think was on. Well, I was PC forever ago, like forever ago, and then I couldn't do it because again I didn't know what I was doing, and like I just I was expecting people to give me quests and stuff like that. That never happened. I ran into a town that was inhabited by people. No one would talk to me. I was like, why is no one talking to me? So I got upset and I stole somebody's house. And I was like, I'm sleeping here now. This is my house. And but I played like 4 hours of that like years and years ago. Didn't know what I was doing. I was like, all right, I'm done. And then played it again on PS3, maybe PS3, and then still didn't know what I was doing. A couple hours, I was just like, I tried again, and then the what was supposed to be the saving grace for me, the Vita. The Vita, I couldn't even get into it on Vita. I was like, maybe if I have it on Vita, because I want everything to be on Vita. And even on Vita, I was just like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So, but I realized it's not the platform. It's just the fact that I just didn't really have an understanding of what was going on. And then now that I'm playing with people and they're kind of showing me the ropes and stuff, and I'm getting the hang of it, kind of really understanding how everything works mechanically, it's like, okay, I can, and then the creative juices get flowing, and it's just like, it's really, I'm having a good time with it. Not to mention the music is incredible. I mean, my God.
Oh yeah, they've got a whole lot more even than it started, and they're all great. Yeah, the music in that game is awesome. Like the ambient music, then you can get all music discs, and those are all great too.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my friends crafted one. I was like, "What is this? You can make music discs as well? Like, what can't you make in this game? It's ridiculous."
You can't craft those. You have to get them.
Oh, you have to get those. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's some that are in like some of the like underground like mineshaft treasure chests. You can get them in like there as loot. You can also make them by when a creeper gets shot by a skeleton and dies, it leaves a record.
Gotcha.
So you can make setups in there where you can like lure a skeleton in there, make a trap so that you get creepers to follow you through like down a hallway or different elaborate setups to then just like, okay, you get them and like I've collected all the different records because it's a random drop each time.
Right.
And that's like just one of many weird things in that game that like people have come up with all these crazy methods to like get these things out of it over the years. It's just like I know a ton of it because I've been playing it for so freaking long, and I watch so much Minecraft content even like now. Right. Like I still watch it whether I'm playing or not. So it's just like steeped in my brain at this point. But yeah, I think the thing that some people bounce off of that is they think of it as a like video game where you're going in and there's like all these objectives and things like a traditional video game, and it's really it's what they call it. It's a sandbox. And so you can take it even if you're just playing like survival mode, which is just one thing you can do in there. You can still play it in a bunch of different ways depending on what you enjoy doing in it, let alone like the creative mode or all the weird servers that are out there with all the mini games and stuff. Like Minecraft is huge at this point. There's so many different weird things you can play in it.
Because that's the thing is like I always liked the idea behind it, but then like it wasn't until Dragon Quest Builders came out where I was just like, this is incredible. This is exactly what I wanted. Like it was like the elements of Minecraft, but with like a point to it, and like and that's why I loved Dragon Quest Builders. But that was just me, I loved it. But now that I actually. I guess you have to make your own point for a game like that because, like you said, it is kind of a sandbox. So it's a playground. You just, go in there and you make your own game, really. Do it like that, basically. So.
I like to do it because of just like the creative side of it. I like building cool things, and then I have friends who they just like exploring and they wonder and want to see what weird, randomly generated, cool things they can find or whatever. Other people just like, I want to survive on as little as possible and go down to the caves and see how long I can go before I die. All sorts of just dumb stuff you can do in that game.
Lots of comical moments can happen too. Of just. I didn't know what I was doing, so like the first like 30 minutes of me playing when I was playing with one of my friends. I just kept digging down. That's all. It was just downward, just forever.
Ooh,
And then
bad idea.
someone was trying to find me, and
Help,
I was, and he was, he goes, Dennis, where are you? Where are you? I was like, I just kept digging, man. He's just like, oh, I was like, yeah. Once you enter that cave we just found, man, you should find like a hole in there somewhere. And he goes, oh, okay, hold on, I think I see it. He thought it was just going to be like a staircase of me digging, and then he walks into the hole and he just falls for like forever, and then of course dies because of how high that fall was. And it was just, I was laughing for at least 20 minutes. I couldn't. It was too much. It was too much. But stuff like that just, it kills me. So
one of my favorite moments from like this series I watched, there's a server called Hermitcraft that has like a bunch of YouTubers that do it, and they've been doing it for years now. And they like, go for, a year to a year and a half or so, then reset to all the stuff on a new server and start over a new season, basically. But so like somewhere in season 4 or 5, I forget what it was, they have a group of them together because they're all going off to find the stronghold so that they can open up the portal that takes them to the end dimension. So they're all like, the way you do that is you have these little like items you throw in the air, and they kind of like go off in a direction, and you follow them until you can finally find where this place is. So like they're all like seasoned Minecraft players by this point, but somebody like dug a hole, and like all of them, for whatever stupid reason, weren't paying attention, following, and they're all just like falling in like and like it was one of the most hilarious moments I've ever seen in like a Minecraft video. It's like, you guys should know better.
Rookies.
Never dig straight down. Never.
But yeah, like one of the reasons why I decided to give it another go is because, and this must have been like my 11th attempt at this point. I mean, outside of the fact that it is on Game Pass, a friend of mine, he moved a couple of months ago to a different state. So he wanted to jump on a game that we could all kind of jump into, and one of the first things he mentioned was Minecraft, and I was like, you know what, man, why not? Because I haven't played with anybody yet, so maybe I can, and I'm glad that now it's something that I can enjoy. So I've been playing that on both Xbox and PC, just kind of jumping back and forth between whatever I'm on at the moment. And now honestly, I'm enjoying it enough to the point where I'm just like, I'm kind of tempted to get it on Switch, honestly, just so I can.
The Switch port's pretty good.
Yeah.
Is it? Thank God.
Yeah. I mean, I still like PC is the best just because I have most of the like at least common recipes in my head. I can just go do them really quick, and doing that on the console is a little bit slower, but
yeah,
whatever.
That's what I noticed is that's
port.
why like my last couple play sessions I've all been on PC just because it's easier to just.
Minecraft is the ultimate hangout game. Like you just hang out with people and chat and just do, even if you're all doing your own stuff, like you can just hang out and do whatever.
Right.
I'll probably get back into it whenever they put the new update out, probably sometime later this spring. They've been showing off the snapshot versions of it where they're updating the nether dimension, which has been needing an update for like since they added it, probably because it's so just like the same bland stuff over and over. So they're adding actual biomes into it now. It's like the overworld has all these different biomes. The nether was just like the nether. It had fortresses in it. That was it. It was still just like that stupid, ugly red netherrack as far as the eye could see, and lava. Like that was it. And now they're adding like new biomes and stuff to it, where there's like these cool like different colored trees and like mushrooms and like red vines and all this different stuff. I'm like, yes, okay.
Whatever happened to that? They announced like years ago. Didn't they have like a 4K texture pack that they were planning? What happened to that?
That is like canceled or something, whether because they couldn't get it to run well on for the Xbox, which I think was what it was for, or something. I don't know. Because it has all the, I think it was like the shaders and all that other stuff. Like you can like kill a machine with Minecraft if you like know what you're doing with adding stuff or just upping all the settings. So like render distance of like however far away, like you can kill like a nice PC, let alone like a console.
I want to see that now. I would love to hear stories of that. Dude, how'd your motherboard fry? Minecraft, man.
Yeah, looks like they canceled it back in August.
Yeah, there's just I forget what their reasons were, but yeah, like they have kind of like the two versions of Minecraft. have like Bedrock, which is like consoles and Windows 10 version. And then they have the OG Java edition, and like they've been slowly kind of getting parity between the two over time, because there's like a little bits of stuff in that they did for the other versions that were brought in probably by some other developers.
Java was how it started, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Java was how it started. Yeah, that's the original version of Minecraft that they just keep adding into. Yeah, so like I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, lost my train of thought. Had something. And I was like, nope, lost it.
And I hate when that happens.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah. Well, here it goes. Oh, never mind. Forget it. It's all gone.
It's like a balloon when you accidentally let go, and then it just goes up.
Did y'all ever see Dick Tracy, the movie with Al Pacino? And he goes, "I'm having a thought. It's coming. It's coming. It's gone." That movie was so bad.
I love Al Pacino.
Yeah, that movie was so bad. I loved that movie when I was young, and I went back and watched it and went,
it's so bad that it's good.
Yeah, it's so bad that it's good.
It's been years since I saw it.
But Al Pacino was the one in it. He was the best in it. He was great. But
it's usually the case with the movies he did.
Yeah. Anyway, that but Nathaniel losing his thought made me think of that.
Yep.
Weird random thoughts. But
yeah, no, I mean, outside of Minecraft, we recently, I know Gamers Lounge recently got a code.
Mm-hmm.
I got a code on the for the other side of Right 4, where I ended up getting a code for Langrisser 1 and 2, mainly because, well, it's a long story, but I ended up getting it despite everything I'm reviewing at the moment. And but I've been having a great time with it. It comes out Tuesday, and long story short, to give a quick criticism on it, without giving a full review, it's amazing. If you want to see strategy RPGs, kind of in their golden years, I would say definitely get Langrisser.
A PS1 game originally, or is that where the series is from?
Sega Genesis actually is when it originally came out. Yeah, real old. Yeah, 1991 is when Langrisser 1 came out, and then Langrisser 2 all the way through 5 never got localized. They never made it out of Japan. However, there are fan translations for all of them, so you can play them in English. They're just not official, obviously. So
sounds like not for me, but I'm glad you came here. I'm glad you know it's good.
And then the series went dormant for like almost 2 decades, like
not
15 years.
Interest or developer problem, or they like lose part of the assets.
There were some developer problems actually. I can't remember what the full story is, but the original team got disbanded into 2 separate independent teams, and then one of them basically got eaten up by Atlas, and they made their own property called Growlancer, I think. Something like that.
And that came out, I think that was on the PS2.
Yes,
that sounds right.
Because I think I have that game on PS2.
Yeah. And that was one half of the team that split.
Gotcha.
So then the other team, I don't remember who they got eaten up by. I know NIS is publishing this one, but I don't know if they're like, owned by NIS. But they're the official Langrisser team, the ones that have been developing, well, the little ones that have been coming out, like Reincarnation Tensei that came out on 3DS a couple of years ago, which was the first one in like literally almost 2 decades. Like that series was like, there wasn't even spin-offs or anything. Like that series was just gone. And then all of a sudden, a couple of years ago, it was like, hey, remember Langrisser? We're bringing that back. And then there's a mobile game that came out 2 years ago or a year ago, which apparently, according to them, is the official sequel to 5. I mean, it's a mobile game, so to me, it doesn't count. But anyways, and then, but Langrisser 1 and 2, which now sees the official translation for Langrisser 2, is coming out on Switch in the next couple of days, and it's super exciting because it's just a lot of fun to play. It's a lot of fun to play because it's a strategy RPG that's no nonsense. It doesn't get too crazy or in depth with all the items you can get, all the moves you can do. It's very much just like get out on that field, get your units ready. It's turn-based, have fun. And it's got a pretty decent story to it as well. I'm really enjoying it. But I think one of the best parts about it is that at any time, any time, it's not like a click of a button like you can do in like Master Chief Collection, but at any time, if you want to go to the old graphics, and that includes everything from the character art to the map styles to the overworld, everything, the music, you can do that. You can do that. Just go to the options really quickly. You don't have to do it before, you don't, it's not restricted to like, oh, you need to be at the main menu to do this. No, you can be like mid-fight and then just, press start, pause it, switch everything, and it's really great. So if you want to experience how it used to be, you can do that. But the makeover is actually like really faithful and really good. It looks really, really great. I've kind of been switching back and forth between the modern and the old just because I love the old style of art. I just miss that 90s anime style. I've always had a thing for it. But
that's what I liked about Monster Boy on Switch. You could just hit the trigger button and the screen would just go whoop, and then it would be the classic one, and you could just hit the right trigger button again and just go whoop, and paint over it with the new. It's just really cool to see the differences in that original and then the an upgraded version of it. It was really cool. Yeah,
and I love it. And you can get even more flexible in Langrissa, where it's like if you want to keep like the modern maps but have like the old character design, you can do that. If you want to have everything new but change the music to the old style, you can do that. Yeah. It's very flexible.
That's cool.
It's really, really nice. And but yeah, not to get too into it, obviously, because it doesn't come out for another couple of days. It's really, really great. And if you want a solid strategy RPG package to you have two phenomenal 30+ hour games here coming into one package. That I'm really hoping that if this does well, maybe we could see official translations, / remasters in the future for the ones that we didn't get decades ago as well. 3 through 5. So
that would be cool. And I just did a quick look. Growlancer Generations came out on PS2. Working Designs published it, and then Growlancer Heritage of War was the Atlas game that came out on PS2.
Gotcha.
Here anyway. That's all the only ones I see on PS2. Deluxe and then Generations. No, it's Generations. Never mind.
That's not it.
They put too many versions of that game out. So, but, yeah, that's one game I've been interested in, and when we got the review code, I wanted to be able to do it, but I knew I wasn't going to have time, so I gave it to Ryan. I know.
It's a long game.
Yeah,
I've been basically just kind of getting a couple hours each night right before bed. Like as I get ready for bed, I'll just play an hour before bed. So I've been doing that the last couple of days, and then like an hour when I wake up, and then take go on with my day. But yeah, no, it's really enjoyable. It's straight to the point. Again, it's not convoluted. It's very much just like get your units, get out there. We'll give you a story in the middle of the battlefield, which is great. They don't give you like a cutscene or anything like beforehand. It's like all the dialogue exchanges depending on who you're attacking, and then like it's just super cool to see, and it just makes you think about what it did at its time, where it's just like, man, that game was like groundbreaking. If only it was like consistent and didn't like restrict itself to only being in Japan. Who knows what it could have grown into today,
right?
Like Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem is gigantic now, or something like not just Fire Emblem, but Disgaea as well as another example, I think.
Yeah,
but,
I was gonna say something like that.
But yeah, and they have been playing that, and then lastly, just because I can't, for some reason I can't wait for New Horizons to come out, so I downloaded Animal Crossing Pocket Camp.
Oh no!
Against my better judgment.
Oh no! Yeah.
I have not played that since it launched.
Lots of people at PAX that I met were grumbling, "Oh, it's that game, or something."
Yeah. People. Yeah, and all I've been hearing as of late is just that that the way they speak, the way those animals speak. That's all I hear in my head now.
Yep.
Just asking me to take care of the flowers and craft some more furniture. Like, please let me sleep. Just leave me alone.
You constantly, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm just in my camper passing by.
Come back.
which is funny that if you actually listen close at it, that voices is actually what you're seeing on the screen, just sped up to an extreme speed.
It is.
That's
It's
what's
insane,
hilarious
yeah.
about it, and it cracks me up. But yeah, you're right.
I just need New Horizons to hurry up and come out because I can't keep playing this game.
Yeah.
And
2 more weeks.
Yeah.
2 more weeks.
I'm gonna need Google Play to go ahead and just remove it from its store because I can't anymore. I just don't want access to it. But yeah, that's my onslaught of games that I've been playing at the moment. So
Cool. Well, Eric, I know you're going to talk about your
I'll
PAX
save it.
stuff, but save your PAX stuff to the end. But you can go ahead and talk about what you played before.
Well, like I said, I've been trying to get back into the Last Light or Metro Exodus. Didn't happen, and play Fallen Order. Need to finish Control. Need to finish Prey. The list goes on and on. Anyway, what have I been playing? Because I went to PAX and left my Switch home. I took my 3DS, played some more Rocket Slime. Actually, almost done with that. I'm very intrigued. I really like that game. Right. That is going to be. I'm glad that somebody mentioned that to me. It scratches the, which is weird. It scratches like the Zelda itch for me, but I'm not really done in card.
Okay, yeah.
Collecting those little slimes and doing my thing, wander around the overworld. Music's fun. The slimes are fun. Casual play. I got Contra 4 recently for DS. That's a tough game to find. I am terrible at it. It is hard.
Welcome to Contra on any console. It is
hard. And I played it before.
It is
hard. I
was
like, dang. I'm like, this might not be for me. I really want to check it out and try it out. It was cheap. It was like $20. So we'll see. I might end up going in the trading pile to trade somebody that wants it. If I have to pick between Contra 4 or Colonial Marine. No, Alien. What's the Alien Infestation, right? That's the one for DS? Yeah.
I think so.
It's that running gun kind of shooter. The thing with Contra's neat that it uses both screens, though. Top and bottom. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I played some more of Yoshi's Woolly World 2. You know, it's cute, easy to play. And
I love those games.
Most of the time, though, in the evenings, I either played Dragon Slime in the hotel or read my Kindle. But other than that, glad I got some more use out of the 3DS.
Yeah,
that's it.
I've been using. I hit up my 3DS when I got Infinite Space in the mail the other day from Erik. So
that's right. You like that space RPG action?
You know, I remember
it for an hour and was like, nope.
I haven't played it since I got it from you. I used to have a ROM of it on my old DS because it was such a hard game to find. Yeah, wink, nudge. You know, I used to play it that way. And I really enjoyed playing that game back in the day, but I haven't had a chance. I even brought my 3DS with me. I threw it in the book bag. I was like, I'll play it this week. And every night I got home or got home in the hotel and went, I'm just going to read some comics on my iPad and then I'm going to go to sleep. So
I played it for like an hour or two on the flight. My flight to Palm Springs in December. I'm like, okay, I see the appeal of this game. It's not for me.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that was a lucky find in the GameStop by my parents' house down in Portland, Oregon. Walked in, I go, is that what I think it is? I'm buying that.
Yeah.
Hands down.
And I'm glad you did, and I'm glad you didn't like it. Because but
that's come down in price, right?
Yeah.
It's now around like 40-ish complete.
It used to be in the hundreds.
100, yeah.
And then there was a company about a year ago that reprinted a bunch of hard to find DS games, and that was one that they reprinted. And when they did that and they sold it for $50, the price of the original print dropped like a brick. So yeah, and for GameStop to be selling it for $20, I'm like,
and this was a GameStop that is in like a questionable area where it doesn't. I was like, everything was under lock and key. The DS, 3DX, they were super small. The bottom of the case. That and I had a couple of the Mega Man DS games, and I spotted that one. I was like, gotta have it.
Yeah, I'd been looking for that one for years and had never seen it. And
that was one of those ones where I should have put it like on the R4 or something to test it first. But oh well.
Yeah, that's all right. It worked out.
Yep, everybody wins.
It worked,
including you,
including me, and that's the most important thing. It worked out for me.
That's it. I got lots of games I played at PAX, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a little bit. I'm not going to touch too much on a lot of the stories. Just Just quick news stories, just to kind of say, hey, Ghost of Tsushima has finally got a release date. It's coming out like June 20. Is it June 26th?
The new trailer looks just as good as it has the last couple.
I'm going to keep an eye on it.
Now that
who's the developer behind that game?
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch.
Yeah. So
I know it's going to be fun.
now that they've set a release date, I'm going to pre-order that because I have been wanting to buy that. But it's kind of like if it was going to be one of those games that was going to be closer to the PS5 launch, I thought, well, maybe I might wait and get it. But with it in June, that's kind of a good time. There's not a whole lot coming out in June, July that I'm interested in anyway. So that'll be a good filler. HBO announced that they're going to develop a Last of Us TV show.
Yes.
I might enjoy that more than I enjoyed the game.
They've got was it the Chernobyl guy?
Yeah, the guys.
Yeah, that's a pretty good fit, I think.
It's more reason for me to keep HBO, which I'm like, yeah.
I don't have HBO, so
I was
Maybe we can figure something out.
I was a little cautious at first, but then Neil Druckmann said he was co-writing it, and I was just like, well, you made the game, so if you're there too, why not? So, all right, I trust you.
That's the thing
but they could make that into a nice season. Like, there's about a season of a story there. By the time you put especially if you include the DLC episode stuff in there, as far as stuff you could mine for a show, I think they could do something pretty cool with it.
And that's what I liked about the game. I liked the story. It was the gameplay and the stuff I had to go through to get the story that I didn't like about the game, that didn't keep me interested. So I might enjoy the TV show more than I enjoyed the game. I mean, I'll watch it if I happen to get HBO or they do I'm hoping by that time they get it out. Maybe that HBO Max will be around or whatever. So it
should be, because I don't think we'll see this till at least 2021. If not late in that year or later.
So we may end up paying for that in the end anyway, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that's coming to that we like. So it's like, well, we might get that. And the big rumor is that DC Universe is going to go away, and they're going to absorb all that into HBO Max. So
I heard some interesting things about DC Comics in general. It might all be rumor, but if things don't go well,
it's all rumor. Disney is not buying DC. It would cost them.
I heard other things.
No, I heard that that Disney was going to buy DC Comics, and if that's the case, the Disney would have to fork up about $40 billion, because that's how much DC Comics and movie made last year. So they're not going to get sold.
I heard the AT&T, that's who owns the chunk of it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I heard they were interested in selling because things like the movies are fine, but the comics have been doing really, really poorly. And I don't think it's anything with the comics. I just think people aren't interested in comics in general.
The thing about it is DC Comics made $40 billion last year, so it's not like it's not making money.
Maybe they're just thinking it's not as much.
I think it's just a rumor that somebody started about this. DC Comics is not going anywhere. They fired Ditko. Not Ditko. I forget who it was. They fired last week, and everybody went, "This is it. They're selling. Disney's going to buy them. It's over for DC Comics now. They're all going to get absorbed by Marvel, and it's all going to be." You're all crazy.
Doom Patrol is something I need to watch, and apparently that is the show that all other DC shows should be measured upon.
Doom Patrol was awesome. Swamp Thing was really, really good, but CW shows were fine. They're just long in the tooth. The trouble is with the CW shows is they're 24 episodes long, and that's too long. They need to cut them. It should be like half that. Yeah, they should be anywhere from 10 to 12, and that's what the shows are usually on the DC Universe app. And that's the way they're, because with the CW stuff, you get this filler crap in the middle that's just slogs on, and it's and that's why I lost interest in it. It's like, I really wanted to. So when the Crisis in Infinite Earth or whatever came on, I hopped on, watched it, and went, "Yep, that was really cool. It was awesome." And then
from what I hear about that, you don't have to watch the other stuff.
No, you don't have to watch all that other stuff to find out about it. So, but I for me, I've gotten my money's worth from the DC Universe app, but. there's a lot of cool shows. That Harley Quinn cartoon is
I really
freaking.
want to watch that.
It's hilarious
Yeah.
if you can get past all the foul language in it, because it is just.
I mean,
that's not a problem.
Bring the foul language.
I tell you what, they just say the F word sometimes just to say the F word.
Dropping it.
But
My kind of script. Let's do it.
But I tell you what, though, it is hilarious because just the Joker and the Commissioner Gordon in it has lost his mind, and he's half crazy, and he's always drinking coffee, and he's it's funny. It's really funny, but it's also weird to hear Penny from Big Bang Theory being Harley Quinn. It's kind of
That's kind of cool. I did not know that.
yeah.
That's weird.
It's kind of weird not
excited
only
for
to hear her
trial.
voice that, but to hear her cuss like a sailor is something that's very, very odd to me. But that's okay. We watched, I sent YouTube recommended a video to me the other day, and I don't know if you guys watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but the girl who plays, or the woman who plays Rosa, they did an interview with her where she talked in her real voice, and I was like, wait a minute, now I don't know what to believe. Everything's a lie. How could she sound like that and not this? So then I had to send it to Nikki and went, you got to listen to this. And she was like, oh, that's just weird. I don't like that.
It was like, I remember getting my mind blown from like after I got done watching, like binging all 7 seasons. I think it was 7 seasons of The Sopranos, and then seeing an interview with James Gandolfini, and he's just got no accent. There's no like Jersey accent. There's nothing. I was just like, excuse me.
Well, I don't know if you guys ever watched House back in the day, but the actor that does that, he's got a thick British accent, and it's like, what? It's like, well, and the guy that played Superman, he does too. He has
that's right.
Henry Cavill has.
Or in like the reverse, back in the day on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the guy who played Spike is just some like American dude, but he does the accent so well that people from the UK thought he was from there, and they're like, he's like, nope. So if you're used to him from the show and hear him talk outside, you're just like, it's another one of those who's just like, what?
Yeah, it's so weird. It was just like, it was unnerving. And we watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine this week, and it was just like, that's not right. That's not her real voice. Now I've been ruined. I've ruined. But anyway, enough of that about that. The Nintendo PlayStation console, I stuck this in here, sold for $360,000. I know the guy was hoping for $1 million.
He was hoping for more. He had that offer like, they say.
Oh no, I feel so sad for him.
Yeah, I know. I feel so sad that he only got $365,000 for a console that can only play Super Nintendo games. It's so
couldn't like a museum have bought it off him though?
They could have.
They had kind of offered some stuff.
I read the guy who bought it was the guy who did pet.com, if you remember that back in the day or something. I can't remember his name, but it was, it's somebody that's got way too much money.
Cash to burn.
Hey, good for him.
I mean, I had seen it at Portland Retro Gaming Expo a couple times. It looked pretty cool. It's one of those unique things that they had worked on to get it working, and then I think the first time they showed it didn't work right. Matt Heck had to work on it.
I Am 8-Bit has decided to resign as creative directors at E3.
Which isn't, they've not even done it before.
Yeah, they never. Yeah. This was going to be
brought in to shake things up, and then it's like, apparently not.
And it was just kind of told. They kind of put it out there on a tweet. There was no real explanation given. It's really kind of strange and odd that it went like that, just kind of boom. So I don't know what this means for E3. If it's just another one of those.
This and like the Jeff Keighley thing, it's just like, man, what's going on with E3?
Yeah, I mean, apparently this may be the last part of the, might be the end of it there. And there's a lot of things canceled or delayed because different of the coronavirus stuff. I know they canceled South by Southwest. What was one of the other ones?
GDC was delayed.
Emerald,
as like a bunch of people pulled out of it, and then eventually they're like, all right, we're just delayed.
Emerald City Comic Con's been postponed, which is a big one. Eve Fan Fest, which is always big, is canceled. And I TwitchCon in Amsterdam was canceled. And I understand all that. When you got people coming from
the Minecraft thing was too. They're doing like the stream, but they're not doing like the actual like con.
Yeah. And you got a new strain of a virus going around, and people coming from all parts of the world. That's a good thing to kind of hold off and hope that they get it under control before they do these shows, because you don't want to spread it everywhere. Because some people don't know that they even have it, so it's okay.
Not only are these events getting canceled, it seems like a lot of companies are making people work from home now too. Microsoft, I know for the next 2 weeks, everyone on campus is going to be working from home. No one's allowed on campus. Same thing with Nintendo, and Bethesda. I think recently put out a tweet saying the same thing. Maybe Blizzard. So. It was one of them, Bethesda or Blizzard. Yeah. But they're just having people work from home now. They're just like, hey.
Well, that's the thing that's really, you're going to see a lot of stuff that I'm going to be surprised if there are many consoles coming out at the end of this year, like the Xbox and PS5, if there's many of them on shelves, because manufacturing has gotten delayed, because all of the manufacturing was in that area. They shut it down, and it's only just getting up, so things are just kind of shifted over from where they were planned to be.
They warned about Switch shortages too.
There was some Switch shortages for a while, and I know Microsoft and Sony have both said that there's not, at this point, they don't see a delay for their release, but who knows, how
they're lying.
Yeah, they could be.
I work for a tech company. Trust me, there's delays.
Yeah.
Even if it's delays, they can absorb to the point where they can still hit whatever release dates in the fall they're wanting. There's not going to be as many of them on shelves if they do.
Yeah.
I think I do know that they canceled the big Comic-Con that they have in the Northwest here. That's over in Seattle.
Yeah, that's what we said. Yeah, while you were gone, we said Emerald City Comic-Con was pushed back to summer. Yeah, so. And also the TurboGrafx 16 Mini, Konami said that would be delayed for.
They didn't mention a new date.
I can't hear you. Put your microphone up towards your mouth.
Oh, did they mention a new date at all when it's coming out?
All they said was it's been postponed indefinitely. That's all they've said.
All right. Well, I'm still interested. I was just curious.
Yeah. At this point, I've almost got to the point where anyway, I was probably going to cancel it. So I've got a PC Engine with all the games on a fling floppy, so it's like, whatever. It's just another mini console that's going to throw on my shelf. So
yeah, there you go.
And it's $100, so it's like, I don't know if I'm going to spend that much on it. But
why don't you have people making the dummy versions of these so you can just have it as a figurine?
Yeah, I would be fine with that. I would just like just the little mini shell. I don't even need the guts inside it because I never play them. I just want the box and the that's all I really want. They just sit on my shelf. So whatevs. But yeah, I mean, this whole virus thing, it's going to delay a lot of things. So it will be interesting to see, the new consoles when they, finally come out with a release date and stuff. If they'll, how many, like you say, how many they'll have on the shelf. As long as they take pre-orders and I get a pre-order in for one of them before they cut them off, I don't care. So.
I mean, who knows? Maybe that's a thing where they can't do pre-orders the same way because of be like, hey, we can't guarantee your because we don't have enough. We'll find out later this year, I guess.
Or they do pre-orders and they do them extra long, and they just have a big long backlog when they get them in. You're next on the list, and they just kind of send them out in waves like that instead of cause. But we know they like to cause chaos on the shelves. They like to have that. People, that's what makes people running and fighting in stores over at on holidays. That's what you want.
What if they would never do this, but what if they just launched it on Black Friday?
Oh my God!
That'd be crazy.
Both of them on Black Friday. Everyone dies.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, it's just everybody's worried about the coronavirus. Screw that! Everybody would die from just both those things getting
stampeding to the stores on Black Friday.
All I can think about is that one Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where it was a Jingle All the Way. Yeah, that's all I can think about.
Oh, I'd forgot about that movie.
It's timeless classic.
Yeah, it's a good one. So, all right. So, Erik, tell us about what you saw at PAX East real quick.
Well, first of all, they were aware of the coronavirus. They're doing a pretty good job of like wiping out everything, and as long as you go by my rules, which are don't touch the escalator rails at all, and try not to use the bathrooms on the main part of the convention floor. But they were doing a pretty good job wiping down stuff. I saw a guy like he was demoing one of the PC indie games, and he sneezed all over everything.
Oh.
I was like 2 or 3 people back, and I'm like, they're like, well, they're all, and like a bunch of people, like a couple staff running over there wiping everything down and watching the news, like Clorox wipes and stuff. So they know what they're doing. And then it came to my turn to play. I'm like, can I just wait and play that one over there? But
Yeah.
they were doing a pretty good job. I mean, then without Sony wasn't there, no. Bethesda had its own little thing in the hotel, which I didn't find out till after I left. Thank you. No Microsoft, no 2K really. Gearbox had a tiny, tiny little presence, and EA's never there. So I know Square Enix, and like I think PUBG was supposed to be there too, and they backed out at the last minute too. But there's still plenty of people there. All right, so and I went to a couple panels, but we don't really talk about that stuff. Okay, I'll mention it briefly. I went to a Beta 64 panel, which I didn't know anything about him, but on YouTube he reviews like prototype games and like unfinished things. So he was showing us Donkey Kong 64, what it was maybe going to be like, and a couple builds for that, and Glover 2, which looks like a terrible game and no one should have played that. It was really terrible looking. And he said that he thought it was like 60 or 70% done, Glover 2, and they pulled the plug.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of games like that.
The Donkey Kong stuff was weird. It was way different. I was blown away. And then I went to the history of a Zelda music panel and they had some cool contests in that. But I like Zelda, but my knowledge of the music in Zelda is pretty poor. You would have done well at that, John. I did not. I struggled.
I would have liked to have done that.
Oh yeah, I know no Capcom or WB either. Which I know Capcom had mentioned they were there, but I don't know why WB wasn't there. They usually have some sort of showing with some stuff.
Yeah, that one's kind of odd,
but hey, no Sony, so that cuts down the lines for stuff. Except for Nintendo had a massive line, so the merch line capped every day within an hour, and people would wait. My friend waited in line 2.5 hours to buy an Animal Crossing sweatshirt. To play the demo, you either had to wait in line for up to 3 hours, or you could use Nintendo Warp Pass, which they had other packs. Is you check in with the app, it goes live at 5 p.m. You have like less than 30 seconds. 8 of us tried. I was the only one to get in. So I let my friend play. He's a big fan of it, and I said, "You play, man. You're gonna buy the game. It's not for me." And he was pretty happy. And again, still had to wait a long.
I just wanted the pin. That was all I wanted. I just wanted that little pin. She was so cute.
It's on its way. So let's talk about some of the games I played. Most of the indie stuff. That was the only thing that was intriguing to me. But I played a lot of interesting stuff. 3 things I played. The 4 things that really stood out. I played Artful Escape, which is a music game. It's a 2D music game where you carry a guitar and you play like guitar riffs and stuff with button combinations, and it lights up the world and you interact with puzzles and stuff. It was really interesting, very colorful, kind of soothing. I thought that was kind of neat.
Wow, that was the E3 2017 trailer. Jeez, that's been in development for a while.
Yeah, I played Postal 4. It's like the other Postal game, super violent. After like 10 minutes, like, I stopped by and saw Mega Cat, played some more Bite the Bullet.
Yeah, that game looks really
run and gun,
cool.
Eat stuff. It's really cool. They had added some new weapons and some new features, which I had for a few minutes. I played the 3 games I spent a lot of time with was Skull, Hero Slayer. It's from Southpaw. It is in the Steam store, and you play as it's like a 16-bit looking game. You play as a character with a skull, and you can take after skull, and you can throw it. And you can pick up other skulls and swap it out. It is like it's like Dead Cells.
How's it spelled?
SKUL.
SKUL. So it's not spelled. Yeah. It's not spelled like the snuff. Then okay, my bad.
But it's pretty interesting. They contacted me right after the show actually and sent me a review code. So
that thing looks cool.
And Metal Unit was also in the same booth, and that's like a 16-bit like anime almost inspired platformer. That's pretty neat. A little bit definitely more challenging than Skull, but that was fun. I played.
That looks cool too.
Gestalt. Gestalt. It's a steampunk game. Think of it like Castlevania, but more like a steampunk theme with weapons and like guns and stuff. That was neat. So that's from Sold Out. That was kind of challenging, and I played that for 10-15 minutes. There wasn't very long lines for a lot of this stuff, so I just walked up. Like, oh, you want to play? I'm like, yeah, sure. Disjunction, that was also by Sold Out. That was a top-down action stealth game. Reminded me of Metal Gear Solid, with more of kind of an updated graphics, a little more colorful.
Oh yeah, that's kind of cool looking too.
I saw Foregone and a couple of the other games I'd seen before, like PAX West. Liberated is an interesting stealth game, black and white themed. It's not too heavy on the action, but it was an interesting thing I played. And the one game, I was waiting for my friend. He was playing a game of Double Fine. I forget what he was playing. It was some odd adventure game, Double Fine. And I was playing Samurai Gun 2, which is a 16-bit themed brawler. Think of like Smash Brothers, but all these little samurais slashing each other and shooting each other. I thought that was kind of neat. I played that for a while. But yeah, it was mostly walking around, hanging around the indie booth. I took some pictures and everything. And I just kind of took it easy. This might be one of the last times I go to East. It's a long commute from Pacific Northwest. Long flight. Yeah. It's the most expensive of the 3 in the continental U.S. for me to go to. But we'll see. It might be a couple years. Oh, I did play the demo for Wonderful 101. That's coming to Switch. It's good. If you like it on Wii U, you'll like it. Yeah. The control's fine. They gave away a really cool poster, but I didn't have a poster tube. Oh, that's so I sent it with one of my friends. And she's like, I got a poster tube. I'm like, yeah, you can have it then. I was worried about getting smashed in my carry-on. Yeah.
Did you get to check out Cyber Shadow at Yacht Club?
I had played that at PAX West actually, and that's pretty cool. I like that. You'll like that. You like
yeah. I've been looking for that one for a while. I was looking at that one when it was a self-published indie game, and then Yacht Club bought the rights, partnered with them to actually.
They had another Shovel Knight game that I was going to try to play, but the line was really long. It was something with was it Shovel Knight?
Shovel Knight Dig.
Dig with like matching and things like that. You're digging puzzle based. It's kind of interesting. But if you were to ever go to East, Thursday and Friday is not that bad. There's plenty of short lines.
Yeah, people still.
Saturday was a nightmare and a half. But
my problem with when they have PAX East is you never know what the weather is going to be over here.
Yep.
This year
for weeks. I bought travel insurance.
Yeah, this year we've had a pretty mild winter. I mean, they've only had one big major snowstorm, but what was it? 2 years ago, they ended up having a blizzard up there while PAX East was going on. It's like I just can't take that chance of going up there and getting snowed in Boston.
Yeah, I mean, when I went in 2017, it was bad.
Yeah,
it was bad enough and I got really sick too after I got back.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where it was fun, good time. Got to see some of my friends and hang out a little bit, and it's still a nice convention to go to. And if you can afford to and you live in the area, I recommend at least checking it out. PAX is probably going to be the new thing that everybody goes to versus E3.
Yeah, if they would push that to about the end of April, 1st of May, I would probably go every
When
year.
I first went in 2014, it was in the second to last weekend in April.
Yeah,
and it was in the 50s. It was raining. It was easy to get around. The weather was pleasant. I was like, I like East, and been in March pretty much the rest of the time.
No, it's just earlier. March is too unpredictable. I mean, it's just way too unpredictable.
I don't know why. It's probably something with the convention center.
I'm sure. They're always doing something in Boston. I mean, there's always something big going on every weekend up there. So.
Yeah, they moved the big retro gaming expo I go to every year to August instead of October to see if they could try to get more people. But it's like, really? A lot of people can't come in August because they got stuff going on, things like that.
Plus, it's hot.
Nah, you don't want to be in the convention center when it's 80 degrees and smelly people.
I don't want to be in the convention center when it's 80 degrees outside. I don't want to be anywhere but in my house.
Yeah, that was pretty much it for East. I played some games, had a good time.
There was another cool thing at PAX East, though. Baldur's Gate 3.
Yep.
I watched the live stream of that. It was so good.
To go to that, and I did not. But that's. Oh, you know what else I saw? Interesting. They have a Divinity Original Sin card game or board game coming. And I walked by and saw
I backed that Kickstarter. I'm getting all the things. I got email. With PAX East, they sent out their backer email stuff of like, here, we need your address and that kind of stuff. So, but it's not coming until I think the fall at some point. But yeah, I got it mostly because like the art in it looks really good and it comes with a bunch of minis and
I'm
stuff.
gonna have to go watch that Baldur's Gate 3 trailer.
Yeah, they have a really cool like nice cutscene thing to start it off, and then they have like the live gameplay demo, and then there's plenty. The fun thing about it too is like he showed it, and they don't have
making the game.
Lariat Studios, the Divinity studio. So it looks similar in interface a little bit to the Divinity games, but
Microsoft Windows.
They're putting a bunch of other little twists on it, which look cool. But the fun thing was the demo that was live, and it was because they don't have save states in the game, and he wiped on the first encounter and had to start over.
I love it when crap like that happens. That cracks me up.
And there's just like some other weird, goofy things. He was having the worst luck too with like the rolls in the game. He kept getting like some natural fails, and the crowd kept going like, "Oh no!" But there's so many goofy little bits of Larry in there that are on top of kind of like the D&D Baldur's Gate stuff. So like you can throw equipment. So he like threw a boot at an enemy and killed it with it.
That's hilarious.
Throw my helm.
You can like apparently they're doing a lot more with elevation in this one than they have in their past games. So if you have somebody like way up, you can like shove them off of the thing and they'll fly in, and it looks all sorts of. You can like, instead of some of the stuff like the Divinity did, like the elemental stuff is there, so you can take like this character had his bow and arrow and dipped it into some like fire to give it like a fire aspect for his next shot.
I wonder where they got that idea from, right?
It definitely looks a lot like an early build for sure, but it looks really pretty. The dialogue is very cinematic. It's not like the Divinity games or any of the other kind of like CRPG stuff that's come out recently. It's very much like it looks a lot like say like a Mass Effect or a BioWare game as far as how they cinematic camera with the dialogue.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the trailer and I'm on the gameplay demo and I'm like, dang, it's way different. Where's my asymmetric?
Yeah, like it looks very much like the Divinity games, except instead of having individual characters having a turn, it's kind of team based. And for what they're saying, how it works for co-op mode, that'll be better because everybody in co-op mode basically takes their turn at the same time. So you don't have to like wait for somebody like you.
Does it have online and local? Is it just online co-op? There's no way it's gonna be local on PC.
I'm assuming it's the same as what Divinity Original Sin 2 did. They also have like their origin characters, which is kind of like a thing they did for Divinity Original Sin 2, where you have like pre-built characters with backstories that you can play as one of them, and then they come in your party, or you can make your own character. So it looks to be insanely like detailed too on like all the different paths and different things that can happen. Because if you read all the previews they also did like a behind closed doors event showing the same thing before they aired it at PAX, and all the descriptions from the different sites I read, different things happened. Which is part of what makes the original Sin, especially 2 games, really good. There's just, they built in so many different like weird paths, or just like let random things happen too, just based on how the engine's built, that it's always fun to play. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. It's coming to like early access sometime this year. So
really? I didn't realize.
Same thing that they did with the Divinity Original Sin games, and like putting it out in early access, getting a bunch of feedback to make it better, and adding things as they go, and then eventually a full release.
Oh wow! I didn't realize it was going to come that quick.
They haven't set a time or a date or anything yet, but it was this year, so I'm gonna guess it's probably sometime later this summer or fall.
I saw that trailer too, and I just assumed this is going to be a next year or the year after next. It's still got.
Well, I mean, if you're waiting for full release, it's at least next year.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even figure they would do early
time to build
access,
a new PC.
But I mean, I'm actually more excited that they are doing early access, because just the way that studio works, it's worked out really well for them, and then ends up being a better game in the end because of it. And especially with something with so many moving parts in it, I think like the early access, they're having, I think it's like 6 or 8 different of like the D&D classes, but by the time it comes out of early access, they'll have added like all of them. Yeah. Pretty much. And there's a ton of them at this point, like not even just the base ones, but ones in like some of the add-on books and all that. So It's going to be a huge game by the time they're
Yeah.
done with it.
So
Yeah, I'm
it's gonna
sure
be a
it
lot
will.
of fun. It's be one of those games where I'm gonna sink hours now.
But yeah, go check out that cutscene. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
There's some really cool, like, high fantasy magic shit going on. I love that they've got the mind flayers are like a big bad enemy for this game, because it's going to give it a much different flavor than if it was just kind of traditional something else, like, oh, some orcs or goblins are doing something,
Yeah.
or it's like dragons. It's like we haven't seen as much with mind flayers in anything, so it's going to give it that kind of Cthulhu like feel to it, which will be cool.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one whenever it does come. One last thing, just quick before we go. PlayStation 2 turned 20 this week. Everybody have a PlayStation 2? Anybody have a favorite PlayStation 2 game? I personally am not
favorites.
Yeah.
I can't really single one out. Really.
There's only two that I can single out. Grand Theft Auto 3 was the one that I liked the most. Yakuza 2 and the original Monster Hunter. I really held a grudge against the PlayStation 2 for a long, long time because it killed the Dreamcast. So I went on to get a Xbox instead of a PlayStation 2 for a long time. So I didn't have a PlayStation 2 at launch or anything.
I always saw the Xbox as like a spiritual successor, anyways, to Dreamcast, kind of with all the Sega games that were on there, anyways.
And that's kind of the way I flow. That's why I kind of flowed to that, because they were doing Jet Set Radio. They were doing Shenmue 2. They were doing, Sega GT. They were doing Panzer.
And they had the. Yeah, that's right.
Phantasy Star Online. All those went to Xbox. So it's kind of like I had no interest in PlayStation 2, till, I don't know, 2 or 3 years after I finally let go of them killing the Dreamcast.
I was thinking about this is like the PlayStation 2 has a massive library, and it has genres across games and games across every single genre.
Everywhere, that's right.
Interesting stuff. And I think about how I'm gonna go on a soapbox here. Even though it has a large library, the bad to good game ratio is much smaller than what the Xbox has. No offense, I like my Xbox.
Oh yeah, I mean it's true.
Yeah, the Xbox is like, here's another sports game.
But the PlayStation has 2,624 games.
I was gonna ask her that question.
I would say so, and I mean, I have a
PlayStation has plenty of bad ones too.
And I only have about 45 PlayStation 2 games in my collection, and most of them are role-playing games. The Persona series, the Shin Megami Tensei, they did the Nightblade, and the Shinobi game was on there. I really like those.
Those are interesting games. You got your God Hand? That's a good game.
No, I didn't get God Hand. Ring of Red was one that I really liked. That was a very early game on PlayStation 2, but it was a strategy, alternate history, World War II type game. It was really cool. I liked it a lot.
Most of my PlayStation 2 games, the games that I have now, but the games I remember playing back in the day are all like multi-platform releases. Like I remember playing GTA, all the GTAs on PS2 and then on Xbox. I remember playing like Scarface. I don't know why I like God Hand. I remember seeing it in Circuit City, and I think it was like $15. I'm like, I'll buy this. It looks cool. There's a big guy with a big fist, and the back looks interesting. And then I found out years later, after I traded it to get my PS3, that it was worth a big chunk of money. I probably should have hung on to it.
Yeah. Well, just to give you a comparison, like the original, the OG Xbox, they only had 987 games on it.
And how much did that PS2 have?
2624 to almost 2,700 games.
Almost triple.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wii was like that all over again.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite that many total, but it was just here's a flood of like minigame collections and all that stuff. They're just like, oh man, so many of them.
We had
played a lot of Resident Evil 4, played a lot of like Time Splitters, Future Perfect. Yeah. My PS2 library now and Xbox are about the same. Yeah. I tend to get, if I get a multi-platform release for one of my older systems, I tend to either get it for the GameCube or the Xbox. But I like the PS2. Thought it was a good system. Enjoyed it. Actually bought an Xbox before I bought a PS2, and then once I got the PS2, I was like, there's so much I have to catch up on. God of War, I really like those games. They just kept cranking out stuff.
Yeah.
I never owned a PS2, so I only have kind of like 2 games. One is just like Guitar Hero, with playing that at friends' houses, and then I borrowed a friend's slim PS2 so that I could play Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah, that was a good amazing game.
Yeah. Santos on
One of my favorites.
Facebook said GTA Vice City. That was the one I played
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
too. 3 was the
Yeah.
one that I played. I think the most of was,
I think
was Grand Theft
3
Auto
or
3.
Vice City was one of like the top 5 best-selling PS2 games of all time.
I
And
believe
even
it.
though they had all that the lawsuits and stuff, they were still just made the game even
I
more
love that
popular.
game. Everything about that game was
Printing
fantastic.
money.
Yeah, I mean, I just played hours and hours and hours and hours of that game.
Yeah, just doing whatever, screwing around those games. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
yeah.
I beat Vice City and San Andreas at least twice.
I know I beat 3 in Vice City. By the time San Andreas came around, I'd played Vice City and 3 so much it was like I played a lot of San Andreas, but I never did finish it. It was
I love San Andreas too.
yeah.
One of my oddest PS2 memories is I remember when I got my PS3, my fat PS3, and I got rid of my PS2, and I made sure to keep all my memory cards. And then when the fat PS2 had died,
Yeah.
I'm glad I hung on to those memory cards because I was able to buy another PS2,
Yep.
hook it up, and then get back in Resident Evil 4, which I'd beaten 3 times. Twisted Metal I'd beaten a couple times. So all stuff like that. I like the PS2. I think it was I remember the one thing, John, you might remember this a little bit more, but at the time when it came out, DVD players were still really expensive.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so people were like, PS2 plays games and DVDs.
And that's why it sold so well. Is people bought it was cheaper to buy a PlayStation 2 than it was to buy a DVD player. Because it was like I think it was like $199, maybe it was $299. I don't remember. I think it was $199. But you could buy a PlayStation 2, watch DVDs, and play games on it. Yeah, that was the bad thing with the Xbox.
Compatible.
Yeah, and was the bad thing was with the Xbox. You could watch DVDs on it, but you had to buy a DVD playback kit with a dongle on it for $20 and stuff like that. And it's just dumb. It's like, why did you do that? I mean, it's. Nobody.
Money.
I guess. At this point, though, it's like $20 is $20. It's like,
there's so, and I missed. Yeah, I wish I had more into RPGs because there's so many good RPGs on the PS2.
I appreciate the PlayStation more. After right before the PlayStation 3 came out than I ever did when it launched. Because, like I said, I loved the Dreamcast so much. When the PlayStation 2 came out, it was just like
Get over there.
Oh my god! It was just like I can't believe that it just came out and crushed it. But once I start playing like Shin Megami Tensei and all those games and Persona, there's so many great Japanese RPGs that were brought over to that system.
And if you like horror games, the PS2 has a decent selection of horror games. Yeah, some of them are spendy.
Decent. Putting it lightly.
Okay. Yeah. Great horror games then.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a lot of, like Fatal Frame. Clockwork Tower, stuff like that.
Clock Tower 3 specifically, yeah.
There's plenty of good stuff. A little bit for everybody.
There's so much on there though. It's just and a lot of it still holds up. Maybe the graphics don't hold up, but the gameplay and the stories on some of those games hold up.
It's a game by game basis. Like I still think all the Silent Hills look incredible today. Silent Hill 3 especially. So
especially if you go component. And you got a TV that accepts component cables. That helps a lot, because that bumps it up a little bit. So.
I didn't play it on PS2, but Okami is probably one that holds up pretty well.
That's an interesting game. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I like that one a lot too. So, there's a ton of games. I remember when that came when I was working at GameStop. That was in the last heydays of the PS2, right before the Wii came out and the PlayStation 3, and games were cheap. But there were so many of them, and I remember trying to track down Yakuza 2, trying to track down this game, while they were on sale. I bought up a lot of them when they were going out of clearance, buy 2 get 2, stuff like that. It's things that I wanted, and a lot of things I just got because it was less like, I don't know, I've never heard of it. I'll just buy it because it's cheap and it's going away. Especially a lot of those Japanese RPGs. It's just like I just bought them just because they were cheap. And now it's like you can't find them, so or they never re-released them, or whatever. So the PlayStation 2, I have more of a affinity for it in the past 10 years than I did in the first
me too.
10 years.
I still have 2 PS2s. I think I have a third one someplace.
I just have one.
About one of them's gonna fail. One of them's gonna fail.
I just
I
have.
used to have one of the original fat ones, and then that one died on me, so I had to get a slim. But I still maintain to this day that's still to me I think the most dramatic and incredible slim version system. Where it was like that thing was all of 20% of the original size.
Size of like a small
PlayStation.
textbook.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
very tiny.
I've got this. I have a slim PS2. I think I have a fat in a box, but I have the silver slim PS2, which is the one where they put the power supply back into the console. It was one of the last ones ever released. That thing reads everything you throw at it.
Yeah.
Whereas the slim PS2, hit or miss.
I have a fat one with the network adapter. I have a hard drive installed on it, and I have all my games installed on the old IDE hard drive in it, so I don't have to swap discs or worry about anything like that.
That's fantastic. So. And it's crazy. There's nothing really like that for the slim. I've seen some kind of mods, but for the fat you could do it.
Yeah, and I have a 60 gig PlayStation 3 that's backwards compatible. Unfortunately, it's a yellow light of death. I've never went back and got it fixed.
And when I got mine fixed, all I could think about my 60 gigabyte was, it'd probably bomb out again in the year.
Yeah, and it will. I mean, they all do. I got it fixed one time. It lasted about a year, and then it conked out again. And I really I don't know if anybody's even still fixing those now or not, but I really would like to get
that slim PS3 right there has a 500 gig hard drive, and I've had it since 2010.
Yeah.
I used to play on it so much. It works like a tank.
Yeah, I've got the super slim with I got a super slim with the sliding top on it, and I've got a
always gave me anxiety.
I've got a 2 gigabyte or 2 terabyte hard drive in there full.
There you go.
I've got like
120
games.
It's got the Simpsons arcade on it. Arcade, Scott Pilgrim.
Yep, mine's got all that on it. Scott Pilgrim.
We're getting those again.
All those games that you can't get anymore are still on there. So.
But I missed when my PS3 died. I missed that backwards compatibility with the PS2.
That was the best backwards compatibility too, because the games looked really nice in 1080 or 720 and HDMI and all.
I used a guy in California to fix my PS3. I had to send it to him. A guy I found on eBay from a friend, Cheap Ass Gamer, recommended. He did a good job. Got turned around fast. But if I had a fat PS3 and it broke again, I don't know where to start. I don't know if anyone fixes them.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody even fixes them anymore either.
You can do it yourself, but it's kind of a pain.
Yeah, it's and now you could get so much better.
Just get a slim.
What is it the stuff you used thermal paste? You got so much better thermal paste with with the diamonds in it and stuff like that does so much better with the heat. But I don't know if it's even worth. I'm still holding on to it. It does make a nice doorstop because that thing weighs like 20 friggin' pounds.
I was gonna say you can put other things on top of it, but it's not smooth. It's got that curve to it.
And I don't know if you've ever seen anybody take it apart, but there's so much metal in that thing those 60 gigs were built like a stinking tank. I mean,
slice up your fingers.
It just there was so much metal in them things. It's no wonder it weighed so much. I mean, it was just like, holy crap. It's like, I don't know why. It's just that seemed like it's such an awful design price wise. I mean, maybe that's why it was so expensive when it came out. It was like it reminded me of like a solid state stereo system from back in the day. I mean, that's what it reminded me of. It's just like, wow.
We'll have to have a fun discussion about the PS3 launch and like memories of that sometime. That'd be an interesting conversation.
I remember it
about playing stuff.
I remember nobody buying it because I was working at GameStop.
That was the most money I'd ever spent on a console. I only had a couple of games.
I never bought one until they dropped in price, and then I bought that one, and I bought it used, and I think I paid $200 for it, $250 for it.
I think it had been out a year, or just because it came out the same year as the Wii did, so it had been out a year, and they had it for $600. If you trade in a PS2 to this Game Crazy, doesn't exist anymore. If you trade in a PS2, they give you $100 off a new one. So I got that 60 gig for just over $500.
Yeah, but what was hilarious about it is I'd went through 2 360s before I bought my first PlayStation 3.
And I almost went back and I returned it and got a 360. I was this close because all my friends had 360s, and it's like
Yeah, I didn't get one till like the Vita came out. I think that's because then there was a lot of cross buy. I wanted to play Uncharted, those kind of games, and then it was like, okay, now it's worth it for me to do. And plus, I worked at GameStop at the time, so I could get a discount on used systems. So I got a good price on it. Of course, like I said, it only lasted 4 or 5 more years than it died.
What can you do though? I mean, it's one of those things, just the hardware.
Yep.
Yeah, PS2 and PS3 in general, but PS2 really got a lot of good memories. Played a lot of it, and I always seemed to like in college people wanted to play more Xbox than anything, but I always liked the PS2 and the GameCube.
Killed my Dreamcast, but anyway. I don't hold a grudge. My favorite thing that I ever saw was an advertisement for the PS2 and how it made a great stand for your Dreamcast.
Oh, I've seen people do that these days. Got the fat, and then they got the Dreamcast on top of it.
Yep. Yeah. So there's actually an ad for that talks about the best stand for your Dreamcast is a fat PS2. Did anybody ever have the stands for the fat PS2? I had the
one that flipped it vertically, right?
Well, no, I have a vertical stand and I have a stand for it flat. Even though the system laid flat, it's a stand that's for it flat.
I remember for the PS2 Slim, they had one that would flip it that you could use it vertically too, right?
Yep, I have it.
That's weird though. With that disk drive, I'd be worried about
I have the one for the PlayStation 3, the super slim PlayStation 3 to set it sideways too.
It's kind of neat.
I
used my PS3.
I used to have on the stand. I used to use all of them set vertically because I had no other way to set them on the stand. They had to all stand vertically, so they all had to have stands.
Well, now with the Xbox Series X, you have no choice.
Yeah,
to make it.
Yeah, or you could lay it down. They said you could lay it down. That's what
they did. Okay.
Yeah, they said you could lay it down.
Okay.
I don't think it looks as good laying
way.
down. Yeah, I want it to look like a monolith from 2001. That's what I want it to look like.
Looking at
PC tower. I mean,
yeah, I don't want it to lay flat. I want it to stand, but I don't know where I'll put it at this point. My TV's too big on my stand.
Hang it from the ceiling. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Did you guys buy any
like a chandelier?
collector's edition stuff for the PS2 at all, or anything like that? Because that's when like pre-orders and collector's editions started to become kind of popular. Was that generation, right?
Yeah, a lot of it was Xbox. Halo 2 came out with that Steelbook collector's edition. They were the first, and then I never really had. I remember when Final Fantasy. Was that 14? 12 that came out with the metal steelbook. It was, it was super popular, and it was always a limited edition.
I think that was 12 actually. Now that I think about it.
And nobody ever bought them, and you could buy them. They kept doing them for like $10 on Black Friday. We had steelbooks out the wazoo for that because nobody bought the steelbook for Final Fantasy 12 on PS2. It was, but no, I really didn't buy a lot of the collector's edition games back then. Whatever ones they had. So
yeah, me neither. Not too much, just because of the cost related. But
yeah,
it's always interesting to see that stuff.
Yeah.
I'll have to dig out the stand, Eric, and take a picture of it. But I have a horizontal stand for the PlayStation 2. It just it does is it just puts a blue strip on the bottom of it. That's all it does.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
so weird. I don't know why I bought it. It's like, why did I buy this? I don't need it. I don't even know. It's so weird.
Probably use my PlayStation 2 maybe a couple times a year. Out of all the retro-ish consoles I have, that's the one I probably use the least, just because I have a handful of games for, but most of them I have that on the other systems. So I was like, still worth keeping though. Never going to give it up.
No.
Oh, I do have the Resident Evil 4 Premium Edition for the PS2. I got that a couple years ago. It comes with that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Book, and I got the chainsaw controller too. And those two things are kind of neat from that generation.
Yeah, that is. Those are really cool. I remember when those.
Should have waited till they bought them a couple years after they came out when they were on clearance, super cheap.
Yeah, I remember when nobody bought them. Like I said, I worked back in GameStop back in that day.
Got a pretty good deal on that chainsaw controller, like a third of what it costs on secondary market. So I'll take it. Will I ever use it? Nah. Does it make a cool chainsaw noise? Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks cool
to hold. Very.
Yeah, it's cool to look set on the shelf. It's a cool.
I'm not going to use it to play. I'm like, it work.
Yeah, no, it's a good shelf space upper taker. So.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week's show. I know next week me and Danny will be here for a Back to Bits podcast. I don't know if we're going to do it Friday or Saturday. Like I say, I think I'm coming home on Thursday next week, so we may actually be able to do it on Friday. I don't know, but we're going to be talking next week on that show about ways getting into retro game collecting nowadays. If you don't collect retro games,
If you don't have deep pockets,
yeah, and you decided that you wanted to get into it now, what kind of hurdles are you going to come through, and how much money are you going to have to spend? So we'll have a nice discussion about that, not only with games, but video quality, how to play them on new TVs and stuff like that. So it may end up being a two-parter. So
I look forward to that. It's always good information.
But other than that, hopefully, trying to see 2 weeks from now would be the 22nd. Technically it'd be the 21st, I guess, even though it's midnight. Technically now it's 1 o'clock. It'll be 1 o'clock by the time I go to bed, because we all got to set the clocks forward. So we'll end our discussion the way we started it. That daylight savings time sucks. So. All right, guys. Well, thanks for what's that, Dennis?
I was just saying 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the daylight
either. So. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for hanging out with us in the chat during the live stream. Thanks for listening, however you get the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at GL_podcast. I try to put out a couple hours before we go live, so you'll know when our next show will be. All right, guys. Well, once again, thanks for listening, and we will catch you guys next time.
Take care.
Later.